I started farming at school. Actually, we had a student-run farm there, and I really loved growing vegetables and being able to eat what you were growing. Um, so after school, I started working at a couple different farms around New England, just kind of picking up ideas, seeing how different farmers did things, and then ultimately I decided that I wanted to start my own small operation. During the summers off in college, I actually worked on at Atypical Farm at Burt Street, and after graduation, and after deciding I want to start my own farm, I was able to start farming about a third of an acre there, just with hand tools, a shovel, rake, and fork. Fast forward a couple years later, demand for my vegetables was growing. I was having a great time growing the vegetables and establishing a business, and I loved the challenge of growing vegetables and dealing with the weather. And there's a lot of variables that you can't control, so no one year was kind of like the other, and that kind of kept things fresh a little bit. I loved the challenge. I loved combining mental and physical work. So I was able to meet up with Butch Riley here, who's one of the members of the Riley Family Trust, who owns this land here, and I was able to expand production. I was able to buy a tractor, which allowed me to farm more acreage, and slowly but surely, I built up the quality of the soil so that they were doing a better job of growing vegetables than weeds, and just kept steadily growing. Right now, for the 2014 season, we'll be selling at 3 farmers markets on Saturdays. We'll be in Braintree and Hingham, and also in Easton on Depot Street near Five Corners. That market starts around the 2nd or 3rd Saturday in May, and we'll be there with lots of different vegetables, hopefully, and also tomato plants as well for your garden. That market goes until Halloween, about 20 weeks. And then as far as people coming to the farm, actually, we do offer a CSA program. CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And how that works is that members buy into a share of their farm before the vegetables are actually ready. And what that does is it's kind of an investment of sorts, so that I'm allowed to purchase things like potting soil, fertilizer, different things that I need for the year at a time when I'm not selling anything, so I don't really have money coming in. So what CSA members are allowing me to do is afford all the things that are necessary for that year, and in exchange for their investment, they come pick up food at the farm at a discounted price. So we offer spring, summer, and fall CSA. Our spring CSA runs for 5 weeks, from the beginning of May until the first week in June, and that's sold out already, actually. We have a fall CSA that runs from the first week in November until the last week of December, and that's sold out already as well. So demand has been high, but what we do have spots remaining open for is our summer CSA at the farm, which is really, the bread and butter. It runs the second week of June until Halloween, so it runs for 20 weeks. It costs $550, and members don't have to pay the initial investment up front, just a deposit. And what happens for that $550? You receive between around $25 to $30 worth of food every week for 20 weeks, and you're able to come to the farm on Tuesdays from, I believe it'll be around 3 to 6:30 p.m. And you're able to, the way our CSA selection happens is that every week there's a couple core items that all members receive, and those are usually items that most people enjoy and know how to prepare. For instance, a head of lettuce, a bunch of carrots, some cherry tomatoes, and then in addition to the core items, about 3 core items, there's 5 or 6 you choose items, which you're able to, the CSA members are able to select amongst the other offerings that week. So, for CSA members who really like, kale, for instance, you're able to choose kale. You could double up on kale and do a couple bunches of kale. and you're really able to kind of customize your share and select according to your family's needs for that given week. So right now we're in our main hoop house, and this is where I start all the seeds. Start the seeds, we put them in a germination chamber, which is basically, you know, a insulated box with a space heater in it. We wait until the seeds start to sprout, and then we move them in here. This middle bench right here, we have some ground heat underneath it, and the rest of it is completely unheated. The majority of crops that we have in here are all cold tolerant, meaning that they can tolerate frosts, temperatures down into the 20s and maybe even teens if they've been hardened off enough. So we have things like Swiss chard, we have kale, we've got broccoli, we've got some cauliflower, kohlrabi, we've got some actually sugar snap peas starting to sprout as well, some herbs, we've got parsley, we've got cilantro, we've got head lettuce. So we have a lot of crops going in here, but it's actually just a small fraction of what the farm grows. We grow over 40 different crops and offer them about 32 weeks during the year, basically beginning at the beginning of May and running until Christmas. So even though we have a pretty good diversity in here, we're really just getting started, and pretty soon you know, I'll have to move all these supplies out of here. We'll have trays that fill up this third section over here, and we'll actually spill out into another hoop house. So things are just real. We're at a point where things are really starting to pick up and expand based on the warmer days, longer, you know, greater amounts of sunshine and whatnot in here. The white PVC that you see here, what we do is we put row cover over the trays at night as kind of a blanket to keep them warm and to protect them. So what this does is the row cover will just float right on top of these you know, PVC squares here, and that way the plants aren't freezing to the row cover and damaging. The row cover should be right above the plants, but not right on top of it.